Hello everybody, thank you for joining me, West Coast Lady Painter, for What I Love About Watercolors. I'm Dixie McCustian, and today you can see that I have an eye patch on. I'm kind of at the end of needing it, but I recently had a cornea transplant just over 2.5 weeks ago, and the men in my family really wanted to see me wearing the pirate eye patch to do a video. Now I'm not going to leave it on because I actually can see a lot better now, and my very, very red zombie eye, as they call it, is almost gone too. Today I'm going to talk about what I love about watercolor and using salt with watercolors. Now you can see on my board I've got a little green spot of masking tape, and I'm going to mask out this little circle. I've mixed up some lovely colors, and these, again, if you've been following what I've been doing, are some transparent watercolors. I've got quinacridone magenta, indanthrone blue, phthalo blue, and an Indian yellow, nice warm yellow. If you've never used salt before, it's a lovely thing to use with your watercolors. It gives a lovely pattern effect, and it really works the best in these transparent watercolors. I'm going to maybe put a little bit of water around. I'm going to put this down so you can see. I'm going to just splash a little bit of water around, not a whole lot, because I don't want my colors to diffuse too much. Let's start with our lightest color. I'm just going to splash some yellow here and there. I'll get some of my red. Now this is a different quinacridone magenta. This is a little bit darker color. Salt method also works really well with dark colors. Now I'm going to clean out my brush a little, maybe pull some of those colors together a little bit, and I want to keep it sort of all wet at about the same wetness if I can manage it. Alright, I'm outside on my deck. It's pretty nice and warm, so it'll help it dry. And let's go to this dark purpley blue. Oh yes, alright, very nice. Now I'm going to go back to maybe one of my first colors, maybe bring in some of that yellow again, maybe go to a brush where I can kind of drop that in a little bit. Maybe go back to the red, get a little bit more violet. Alright. A little bit more of the phthalo blue. So I've got quite a wet thing happening here. I'm just going to let it flow into each other a little bit. I don't want to make it all one color. And what I'm going to be looking for now, as I spread this around and trying to get it to just move a little and be a little more even when I put the other color on. Let's get this color on here as well. Some areas are starting to dry a little bit. So what I'm doing is I'm waiting for the paper, the paint, to get to a certain dryness. If I have a big sloppy mess, when I put the salt in, it's just going to dissolve that salt and I won't get any effect. So I'm just going to have to wait for it a little bit here. I don't want it to get too dry, and there are some areas that are maybe getting a little bit dry on me because I put those on first, but let's see if we can reactivate that a little bit. Got some nice things happening here. Oops, sorry, can't see that. All right. Let's get, I'm just going to drop a little bit more here and there. Oops. Alright, starting to dry the way I want it. Move it around a little bit more. Let it go. Alright. Now, what I'm going to use is plain old table salt. This really works the best. So iodized table salt doesn't have to be, you know, sea salt or anything like that. Just regular table salt really does, I find, work the best. Now, I'm waiting and I'm looking for the shine to just be coming off of this wet paint. Now I can see some areas where that's starting to happen. I've got my little cup. Some people like to use their fingers and sprinkle it. I like having it in a little cup that I can just let it come out a little bit out of the cup. Granules at a time. Now you really want your salt to kind of spread out. You don't want it to be too close, all the granules to be in a clump. If they're all in a clump, it's not going to work for you. All right, we're starting to get some things happening. Now, you may be able to see that this area looks a little too dry. The salt's not probably going to really do anything there. That's probably too wet. Now, we have to wait a few minutes for this magic to happen. I'm going to just come over here and put a little bit more in it. That's a nice little dry area. All right. Really good. Sometimes it takes about 2 minutes for this effect to show. Just put some more salt into different areas. Now we just have to, sorry, my camera's going lopsided here. Sometimes you just have to wait 2 minutes and I'm going to just be quiet and let that start to do its magic. So, in watercolor, timing is everything. So we have to wait for that paint to just start to dry. Let's see if we can see things happening. It'll take a little bit of time. Whoop. And maybe you can see that there are some little starbursty things starting to happen there. Patience. Another thing that I should tell you is that you want to use darker colors. Darker colors are always better with salt. If you put them into light areas like yellow, it's just so light that you probably won't see it. So salt really works best in colors from deep reds, greens, blues, and violets. I'm starting to get it. It's starting to happen. Waiting for that. Okay, it's really starting to happen now. And I might come back and put a little bit more in just some of those areas that were a little too wet to begin with. See if I can get a little more effect happening in some of those areas that are just starting to be the right wetness. So using salt is unpredictable, but if you wait for that perfect time, you will get this lovely starburst thing happening. I'm hoping you can see some of that. Let me put that there. All right, lovely little starburst things. I'm going to let that dry now. You kind of see it starting to work, and I will post this on my website once I take off my little button of masking tape, which I have to wait for the paper to be totally dry for. Same with the salt. I'm going to let that dry naturally till that salt effect has kind of worked and done as much as it possibly can, and then if I want to, I could take it to a hairdryer. Alright, so thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you give salt a try and see what happens for you. Thanks so much. Bye.